Hi guys, welcome back to another Matchbox Garage video, where today I attempt to take this Corgi from shabby to shiny. And it's not just me today, we've got Jason from Diecastrestos, an Englishman, fellow Englishman, who has been going for about 3 months now, and I've been following him since his very first video, and I love his content, to be honest. I am a fan of his, and I watch every one of his videos. And I approached him and I said, would you like to do a build off? He's just tipped over 1,000 subscribers, so you know he's no joke. He's good at what he does. But yeah, I suggested a build off. He was going to do a Volvo custom, and you know, from the 60s. I showed him a few cars and he said, actually that Jaguar's from the show The Saint, so let's kind of do a bit of a Saint build off. But anyway, we'll drill down the centre of these posts, 4 rivets on this car, and then remove the head. As you can see, I've got a nice long piece, which ideally I need to trim down a little bit. And remember to lubricate the end of your tap. You don't want to snap it in the hole. And I shall be using my very handy vise today. But here is the Corgi. So this is the first Corgi I've ever done. And I've got quite a few Corgis, and having done the Untitled recently has kind of opened my mind to a few different other cars. But anyway, this one is from the Saint. You can see the sticker on the front there. I'm not going to be replicating that sticker today, to be honest, but I like this style of car. It's a little bit lightweight, you know, it's got a plastic base, but like I say, it's a little bit lightweight, a little bit flimsy compared to the Matchbox that I'm used to, but reads underneath Corgi Junior's Jaguar XJS, made in Great Britain. So as you can see, yeah, 4 rivets on this one. Unsure why they felt 4 rivets were required, but there we are. But yeah, it was quite a nice little coincidence that Jason said, you know, he's doing this Volvo, which I hadn't seen. You know, I hadn't seen a picture of it. I just knew he was doing a custom Volvo, and that was it. And he mentioned that it was and I've got a Volvo myself, and I showed him a few pictures of it, and he said, yeah, that's nice. And so I said, well, okay, I'll pick out some 60s kind of sports coupes, and I sent him a picture of a few and kind of let him decide really what he wanted me to do. And yeah, it was perfect opportunity really. So yeah, it felt like it was kind of made for it, you know. And I jumped on it straight away. So I've got a couple of these cars and I've been wanting to do it. So it's quite nice to actually get onto the Corgi. But yeah, these wheels thankfully come off nice and easy. They won't be going back on to this casting today. They're a little bit lightweight, a little bit flimsy, so I'm actually going to be putting on some Matchbox wheels, which I think are a little bit more suitable and more reminiscent of the originals from the original car. Nice interior. Bright red though. I had a look on Google and it appeared the real car had like a creamy interior, so I'm going to somewhat replicate that. Glass was in good condition, thankfully. Just needs a bit of a buff up and the pledge treatment later on. But yeah, here's the main casting in rough shape, I guess you could say, but just kind of paint chipping really. So the casting's in some boiling water and a couple of teaspoons of caustic soda. And I mentioned in a recent video about my plastic spoon. This is the spoon that I have used for probably about 70 or 80 castings now, and I've finally put it to bed. I've got a replacement spoon, but this is probably 30 seconds in the solution, and I think you can see that most of the paint is already off. This is dangerous stuff to use, but there's a method to the madness. So here it is, having washed it down the drain. I don't think there's any paint left, or if there is, it's just hanging on and can just be flicked off. But I'm going to buffer up using Ella's tool with the steel wire piece there, and I think you'll agree that looks pretty good. Looks like I've missed a tiny little bit on the front there, but I do flick that off in a short while. That's the bit. But yeah, come out looking really nice. So I use my Tamiya Fine Surface Primer in white. Start by covering the inside, making sure to cover the wheel arches. And then just a couple of sweeps over the main casting. And that's plenty enough to get in any little scuffs or scratches ready for the main coat. And I think you'll agree that looks pretty good, pretty good. Now that's dried off, and you know the car is white, or almost like an off-white. Now this is a Humbrol enamel white, and although you perhaps can't see it on camera, I certainly can see quite evidently really where the paint needs to go. I must admit I haven't really been using the enamels recently, and it was quite nice to use it again. It certainly is more hardy, and it does give me a beautiful glossy finish. But yeah, cleanup is a bit of a mare on this. But there you are. This is the first coat. I do a second coat as well off camera. And then whilst I've kind of got the paint booth up and running, I just went over the interior with the white primer. I hadn't really kind of decided what I wanted to do with the interior at this point even, but I thought, you know, I want to kind of take away the red. And actually, I guess it's not a thin coat, but it was a coat enough to allow a tiny little bit of colour to come through. It's not solid red, not rather solid white, but it, like I say, it was enough to allow a little bit of colour, which I really liked. And actually, against the gloss white, I was happy with that. So that's as far as I took the interior. But as you can see there, then windscreen going into the pledge solution, and the plastic base just gets a little bit of a wipe. And look what happens next. Yeah, I really did that. Thankfully, the enamel paint is hardy, and I nearly cried, but I was very lucky. No scratches, no dents, no marks at all in the paint. It's been probably 12 hours of dry time, and yeah, my heart nearly jumped out of my chest. But the rest of it's all dry and it's all nice. I've just given that another little check over just to make sure, but yeah, it was okay. Like I say, these original wheels are not going to cut it today. Now I do have some remaining wheels in my little aftermarket wheel collection, so I was kind of having a little look to see what would suit, and I felt that nothing really was good enough. And I have spoken since to the wheel guy, and he's sending me a load more stuff. But I went through my little kind of pot of goodies, and I found this set of wheels. It's kind of like 1970s Matchbox, and you know, looking at the originals, I think these are closer to the originals than what actually come on this car. So I'm going to add a few details around the front and the back, the lights, the registration, etc. But just as a little reminder of what she looked like. and this is the result. So you can see I painted in the front headlights chrome this time, normally white, but of course against a white car you're not going to see it. A bit of Citadel Nuln Oil in the front grille, chrome on the door handles, a bit of black on those kind of, I think they're called the C-pillars. Obviously a bit of chrome, freshen up the wheels. Using a bit of red on the rear lights, and yellow on the rear number plate there. But yeah, really happy with this little car. It's my first Corgi, and it won't be my last. Wheels maybe a slightly bit on the larger side. They certainly fill those gaps, but it is a roller. It does roll, just about. But yeah, I like this one. But remember, check out Jason's video and channel down in the description below. And yeah, he would appreciate it, and so would I. But anyway, thanks to my patrons. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.